Making his way to the ring, your World Heavyweight Champion, Geoffrey Fogle, Fogi Bear!
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and hit record. Starting Discord. We are recording.
Oh, saw you in there, so I had to come through.
Do you have the camera on?
Whoa.
I wanted to be a surprise. I just got back from the Super Bowl. What's up?
Hey, there you go. There you go. Sorry when you're surprised. Sorry.
No,
really.
that's fine. I mean, it's still a surprise. Like, you still just showed up and you're like, what's this guy doing by
It still
himself?
caught me off guard. I think the best part is the preview pulled up and it showed like your little icon in the voice chat.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh.
All right. Well, I'm still recording, so I still got that
Hey,
that
turn it up.
interaction. So there we go.
See, I found my calling in life, and that's to be a host of some sort, or,
Yeah.
or like a mic of some sort.
Mhm.
Which is why I should probably get into wrestling to begin with. But
Well, you have your entrance theme, so there you go.
it's just fucking fire. Thank you for that very much.
I appreciate that. That was the only concrete idea I had coming into this show was like, I'm going to just make like a fire intro for like every guest I have. And then after that, it's all of the energy is just going to totally fall off at the beginning of every episode. And then we just talk about nothing for an hour.
Hey, if it works, it works. I was watching, like, yo, are you serious? The song and everything. I also remember that moment with Kurt Angle too. Which
Yeah.
was wild.
It was like I fell down a rabbit hole. So I was editing it last night and I fell down this total rabbit hole of just like, which I do this like every 6 months just because I don't watch wrestling regularly anymore. But I still do this where I'm like 2005 SmackDown.
Yeah.
whatever comes up, I just watch every video just for like, and then my YouTube algorithm is just like fucked up for like months.
Playing through the next 3 months. Like, all right,
Yeah.
here we go. We're in it now.
Exactly.
We're in the end now.
And then the other funny thing was, like the Google form I had set up, it would by default, it would compile the answers together and just put it on here. So when I was like, oh, I'll see what Fogi put for his intro. And the first thing that comes up is Rush, Tom Sawyer. And I was like, motherfucker, again? Like every week somebody's gonna be suggesting Tom Sawyer. I was like, I mean, it's a great song. I can't blame him, but everybody just over and over.
That could be a recurring bit. Like, God damn it, once again.
Like I would had to be like sued by then. I'm lucky I haven't gotten like any emails or anything so far. So I'm like, sweet. Like not even like a YouTube like copyright thing. So
I'm hoping that Square is too busy trying to get part 2 of remake out, so they're not paying attention to copyright.
Exactly.
Right now.
Exactly. You know, I figure like with everything like stacked on top of it audio wise, like hopefully none of the systems can notice. It's like
you're gonna get that letter in like 6 months from Twitter, be like, "Hey, remember that one clip you put with One Angel and that SmackDown? Yeah, we're gonna need to talk to you about that one, Bucko."
It's gonna be at the same time. It's gonna be Square. It's gonna be WWE. It's gonna be the Spurs. It's gonna be Rush all at once. Just it's like a fucking on your left, and everybody just shows up to copyright strike me.
It's was it Pearl's the final battle in Endgame? Just everybody just goes forward with DMCA, right?
Oh man,
it's like we're here to collect.
I
feel like if you can fool the like DMCA takedown algorithms, you deserve some kind of like cash reward.
Exactly. It's like I'm some kind of like I'm like an honorary member of Anonymous. Like I can figure out how to avoid copyright strikes by just layering so much shit and talking over it.
They'll never know.
Exactly.
10 layers deep in sound design. It's really all trash, but they won't know the song.
Exactly.
That's really is that Pretty Ricky in the background in here too? Oh god.
All right. Well, I guess I'll welcome you officially and welcome everybody to the Dumb Sports Show. I think my light got a little bit more dramatic, but that's fine. You know, we got some drama going here.
Yeah, I should probably do something about my room and put artwork or maybe some more lights, but I keep it simple, man. That's what I do. I'm just lazy.
I appreciate it because I'm lazy, but like busy lazy. So what you can see going on behind me is this is my kitchen back here just with the lights off, which is why there's a microwave
in the kitchen. You got the blue light radiation, you got the microwave radiation, just all coming at you. This is
everything
spot.
They taught me in film school. They're like, yeah, do that.
Exactly. Are you from Atlanta originally?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I'm from Atlanta, but if you're from Atlanta, I'm from the suburbs. So that's what I always tell people. So yeah, I grew up like about an hour north of Atlanta, old Cherokee County.
Alpharetta then?
Yeah, Cherokee County. So you're familiar?
I go to Atlanta pretty often. My job is actually based out of Atlanta, so I might be moving there.
That's right. Point. Yeah,
depends on some stuff. So
because you technically work for Warner Media, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then I know you said you've moved around a lot, like growing up. So did you ever like start out here?
No. So I've only ever done like week stints there, but I've been there like 7 times.
Gotcha.
So like, and then a lot of my friends are native to the area, and so when I'm with them, I went around 2 different spots. So I got a good view and look at
lay of the land. So. Exactly. It's so spread out too. Like people will be like, oh, like I know this person from Atlanta. Do you know this? And I'm like, no, not at all.
No, I'm in North Atlanta. They're in South Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like, they're by the airport. They're in that area. I don't want to go by that area.
Yeah. It's like there's way too many exits along the way. I think we should get into some sports. I think I welcomed everybody. I welcomed you.
If you're not welcome now, I don't know what we can do to welcome you now, people.
If you're not welcome now, then just get the fuck out. I mean, come on, this isn't.
Get
this
you a
isn't
coffee, a soda, popcorn, maybe a hot dog or 2, depending where you're at. Just hang out.
Just chill. So Fogi, tell the people what you do. What do they might know you from? What might they know you from?
Oh man. So the people you might know me. I mean, most commonly, like Twitter's my big thing for some reason. Like I get some pretty good tweets off every now and then, but. My tag is I'm my friend's least famous friend, and I mean that with all respect to them and no respect to myself, because like I have friends that have Grammys, I have friends that act, I have friends that do stand up, all this other stuff, friends that write, and then there's just me. I work a regular job, I do video production, but like I can't get a big break or anything like that, so I just chill and do my like 9 to 5 and whatever, just crack jokes on Twitter and whatnot.
Right.
But Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. A podcast, Everyone Turns Left During Rush Hour, and that is pretty much all my plugging that I can do at this point in time. So.
Well, there you go. That's the end of the show. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we're good. Peace.
So, how much does it bother you that there is another Fogi Bear on YouTube?
So, all right. So it's funny. At my old job, I worked at an Apple store for a long time. When I started on Twitch, I told my friends already to Twitch at work to follow me. They all were looked me up on Twitch and YouTube and oh, you're not a girl from Canada, are you? I'm like, absolutely not. Right. And then so what had happened is I started following her channel a little bit, and then one day she rated me.
Oh, really? Yes. That's hilarious.
And we've just been friends ever since.
That's sweet. I thought that when I saw that, I was like, hopefully they're friends. Like they clearly, because you're close in subscriber count. Like it's not like somebody's hurting the other. You both pop up when you search. It's like, well, clearly I know which one's which, but they have to know each other.
I am not a 22-year-old Canadian girl. I'm sorry. As much as people think that I am, I'm not.
Does she also go by Fogi or does she go by Fogi?
I think she just goes by Fogi.
Gotcha.
So luckily none of our friend groups have overlapped. Therefore, none of that happens. So yeah, that would be real awkward. Like one day we're both in the same place, like TwitchCon or whatever. It's like somebody else Fogi and we're both by each other.
Right.
Who's the real Fogi?
Who's gonna turn around?
Some shady situation.
I saw you on Twitter originally. That's where I originally know you from. You ended up being on one of GameSpot's podcasts on GameSpot After Dark with my friend Jake. And before then, I was like, it's Fogi Bear. I was like, and then I've heard you talk about it's not Fogi, how mad it makes you. So I almost recorded your intro saying Fogi there, and I was just gonna
I would
play
have been
it.
cool with it.
You
So,
would have been
like,
cool with it. So,
so my real name is Geoffrey with a G.
Yeah.
And for some godforsaken reason, nobody knows how to say that right when they see it on paper. And so growing up, I get called like Greg in school. I'm like, what? You put an extra G in there. You're trying to make this hard on yourself.
Right.
Like, come on, guys.
I think we should talk about sports. I think that's
Sports.
that's part of the show. So
SPRTS sports.
we like sports. We don't care who knows.
Yeah.
So you like sports.
I do.
Sometimes, some of them.
Yeah.
You had sent me your list of some of the teams you're into. Before then, I had always thought that, I know you're a basketball fan. I always thought you were a Warriors fan. But
I do like the Warriors.
Okay.
But it comes with like an asterisk because I live in OKC right now.
Gotcha.
And they're still salty about KD leaving.
Yeah.
So like I can't publicly profess that I like Golden State without them like putting like pitchforks at me. So.
Exactly. I mean, for like, that was pretty much everywhere you were, like during the height of that. Like you couldn't profess your love. Because I never lived out there, but I was a total bandwagon fan because I have the Hawks. So like the Hawks are always it's always like, yeah, I support the Hawks, but like I also like to watch like good basketball most of the time.
I like teams that win.
Yeah, so like I have like a Warriors hat, and like I just really like appreciated watching that team. So I was like, oh cool, Fogi's a Warriors fan. But you said you were a Heat fan.
I am a Heat fan. I've been a Heat fan for quite some time, actually. That's like probably the first team after my love of Shaquille O'Neal and the Lakers.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Like everybody in my age group kind of like bandwagons the Lakers because, you know, Kobe and Shaq in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just kind of venture off and find our own teams. And then I landed on Miami.
That's exactly, yeah, because we're the same age group. I fell in love with basketball watching like the 2002 and then the 2003 finals. So, and I think like I knew Shaq. I'm pretty sure I literally knew Shaq from Kazam. Like that was my touchstone. So like when I saw him play, I was like, this guy's my favorite player. Like as a kid, I'm like, yeah, exactly. This is my favorite guy. And so yeah, I was a Heat fan for a little bit growing up too, just because when he left, I was like, oh, you know, forget Kobe. I'm Team Shaq all the way because he's in my favorite movie.
I was actually, I don't know if you know this, but Shaq had like a fan club thing back in the day.
No.
And like I was in one of those, and I think I still have it at my mom's house, like this little bumper sticker of like Shaq's fan club or whatever. And I was like, man, I was deep in the Shaq lore for a bit. And so when he went to Miami, I was like, I cemented my love for the team because I always kind of liked them just because I like the name. And then we went to Florida. I lived in Florida at the time too, and I was like, oh, Miami's a nice city. Like I like it here. I'm only 4 years old, so I don't have a concept of what the world is like.
Exactly. That's my favorite part about like talking about some of these stories is like we're just like, oh yeah, you know, like I like them because of this. And oh, by the way, I was 4 years old. I couldn't make any decisions. One of the things like during that time, I remember watching like some of those first like Miami Heat like preseason games. Shaq's not even playing, and my dad like was in Miami for some reason, and he's like, "Hey, do you want me to buy you a jersey?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And like obviously, I wanted a Shaq jersey. He's like, "They're all sold out." And then he was like, "Who else do you want a jersey of?" And in my head, I didn't know anybody. Again, I'm like 5 years old or 6 years old, and I'm like, huh. And then like they were just like literally on TV, and I was like, oh, I think I like Rasul Butler. and my dad's like, no, they don't have one of those. How about Dwayne Wade? And I was like, sure, I don't know who that guy is.
Dwayne Wade, aka The Flash.
Exactly.
I have one of the Vice Knights jerseys in my bedroom right now that I will never wear. Yeah, will never wear. Just because he's my all-time favorite player. Yeah. Now that I have a brain and like can function as a
exactly. Now that you can choose that. When I didn't have a brain, he was my favorite. Partly because my dad got the jersey when I wanted Rasul Butler. I also had
that jersey was to go to Dwayne Wade's last road game here and try to get that signed.
Yeah.
I knew enough people to like make it happen or like get in the right spot, but tickets fell through. So I was like, damn, I gotta hold that and never see my favorite player play again.
I mean, he works on TNT now. He works on NBA on TNT.
He
You can
does,
get that hooked
casting and
up.
stuff like that. So maybe if I get to Atlanta and I'm in the studio one day,
You're just
I can be like, yo, Dwayne, I have this in my backpack.
Right.
For some reason, in case I see you in public.
You're like, whoa, crazy. You're at the Warner Media holiday party. You're like, oh, crazy bumping into you, Dwayne.
Look at us, you know?
Who would have thought? Yeah, I remember being like the only kid who had like his cheap ass like Converse growing up too, like the Dwayne Wade signature.
Those sucked, by the way. I had a pair as well.
They were so bad. Like I could not play basketball with them. I was like,
it's such a weird thing that they're owned by Nike and that shoe quality was that bad. They're like, oh,
yeah,
that's crazy how bad the shoe is.
Yeah. Oh man. So the Heat aren't doing so well this year, but you're just kind of appreciating basketball as a whole
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you still able to appreciate the other teams? Or are you just watching these games where, you know, Jimmy Butler's out for COVID and, you know,
like I watch it and I'm like, dang, you know, if COVID wasn't a thing, we'd probably be cooking some of these teams.
Right.
You know, 'cause there's games where it's like, obviously we have literally just one more person that can get like 15, 20 points a game. We're probably going to be in the, or, if, like I said, Jimmy Butler's not out for COVID protocol, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been frustrating to watch, but it's been good to watch Bam Adebayo grow as a leader on the court and as a player, because you can tell in his game he's developing a little bit more than just being a post player and defender.
For sure, yeah.
And if he starts hitting a jump shot, which he's hit a couple nice jumpers, and he had a 3-pointer a couple of weeks ago, I want to say. He has a little mid-range game. He's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem.
For sure, because he's like, he gets compared to Giannis, I feel like, and for good reason too. But it's like Giannis is already the MVP and he still can't shoot. It's like
I have a problem with Giannis being MVP last season, but I will hold my tongue on that.
You hold your tongue on that. This is we're not that kind of sports show, all right? Yeah. Like let's not
I'm not
get
trying to be Stephen A. Smith and cause all kinds of problems, and you know.
Oh man, you know what?
This is the worst day. This is the worst day.
So the other team I wanted to talk about that was interesting on there was Chelsea.
Chelsea, yes. Oh my gosh.
So you're a big soccer fan.
I am a big soccer fan. I played a long time. The reason why I'm here is I actually played soccer at university for a year, and then I got stuck. And so I'm still hanging around, you know. But it's cool. It's cool.
Our first and probably going to be our only, or this is like the highest level. I'm going to keep track. The highest level of athlete that we get on this show. So
I will take being the first and the highest for as long as I can ride that train, baby. Let's go.
I mean,
it's
like,
not very often to get a W, so I'll take this W for right now.
I don't know, you know, where my guests are gonna go. I do know the next couple, and I'm pretty sure they're not gonna pass you. But we'll see. I mean, like I didn't make it past like middle school basketball, so you know you're way ahead of me. Andy, I think same thing. I don't think Andy played sports past middle school.
It's a great honor. I'll wear that with my heavyweight championship with pride. You know? I will.
So where does your support for Chelsea come from?
So when I was really getting into soccer.
You can do whichever. You can.
I'll probably say football just because I've been talking to like a lot of my UK friends about the sport. It's just been easier to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find, so one of the biggest things that's like hard for like black people in America is like finding someone that looks like you to support and be okay with that's not an NBA player. Because you know, you look around other sports, it's always like, oh, here's, you know, white quarterback number 42 or whatever, and stuff like that. And so with soccer, especially, like it's a little more common, but it's still very uncommon to find like somebody who's not a defender or a bench player, something like that. And then this one forward named Didier Drogba.
That's one. So that's what I was gonna say. Like, for whatever reason, growing up, Chelsea was always like the team that I was like a little bit more attached to. Don't get me wrong. I've not watched a minute of Chelsea football because because like I'm just not that big of a soccer football fan. And but I was like, I can pronounce. I know what that says. Again, I'm like 5 years old. I'm like, I know what that means, and I like blue. And so, I was going to say Drogba I think he was literally the only player that I know of. Oh, and I know they have Pulisic now. But
Pulisic now, which he's their best player currently. I just hope the management situation gets better because, Frank Lampard could not manage a team to save his life. He was not ready for that job. He really wasn't. But like back then it was Drogba, Michael Essien, Salomon Kalou, Petr Cech in goal.
I remember that guy too. I remember him from World Cup stuff.
Yep.
Petr Cech.
Michael Ballack, Frank Lampard, John Terry. I'm trying to think of who else was getting, because we had like a lot of like, really good signings and players, and just their style of football. Like everybody like Man U or they were Arsenal fans or Liverpool fans, and like I didn't want to be that, and so Drogba helped me get to like know Chelsea, and then the rest of the players had me fall in love with Chelsea. And so at the time, we were really good about just playing our own kind of brand of football. And it didn't really change until I probably say the first stint of Jose Mourinho, whenever he came by, because he like kind of changed the mentality of like how that team runs. But it was just so fun to watch them play, and then the battles they would have with Man U and Arsenal on those derby weekends and stuff. And so it's just been ever since loving it. However, I will say, being a Chelsea fan is the closest I'll ever be to a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh,
This is not a fun roller coaster to be on. It's, oh my gosh. Until last week.
Translate that for people like me. So like what's the similarity there?
So the thing with Chelsea is we have a very rich, powerful owner who probably has their money done from corrupt business practices, which is fine. It's okay.
You know?
But we will find a way to spend $300 million on a transfer window on 4 people and still end up in like 5th place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, great, we're spending all this cash to not get anywhere.
Right.
Same with Dallas. They'll spend all this cash on like 4 or 5 players, 8-8.
Right.
7-9. 6-10. Great. You won. Congratulations. 3rd place in the NFC East, the worst division in football.
Man. So if I was to want to become a bandwagon Chelsea fan, I was planning on having like an episode. I was going to do this, and I know you're a hockey fan too. I was going to do this for football and for hockey because I've always liked both. I've been to like professional like matches and games of both. I enjoy them, but just, like I don't have like teams necessarily. Like I follow Atlanta United, but I just don't watch like MLS that much. And hockey, like I don't follow anybody. I'm like, we had the Thrashers, so that turned out great.
Oh yeah, they went to Tampa, right?
No, they went to Winnipeg.
Oh, like Winnipeg has got their own team.
Exactly. I'm like, like I guess I could be a Winnipeg Jets fan. And I was like, I don't know where Winnipeg is.
The cool thing about Atlanta's hockey team is they actually had like 3 or 4 black people at one time there. And I was like, all right, they're trying. They're trying to
Evander Kane, like Evander Kane was like a legend, like getting into fights and stuff. And he was a great like goal scorer too. But yeah, so I was planning on having episodes for each where I'm going to have like a table of fans, and it's like I'm being recruited.
How to bandwagon.
Exactly. Yes, right. This is like bandwagon 101.
Contract to sign and everything afterwards.
Yeah, but I think like Chelsea has like a little bit of an advantage, like I said, because of my my rich illustrious history. So if I wanted to be a bandwagon Chelsea fan, what are the 5 things I need to know?
5 things to know about being a bandwagon Chelsea fan. All right, number 1 is North London always bleeds blue. That's all. That's like what you got to yell.
North London always bleeds blue.
You hate Arsenal.
Let me write this down.
Yeah, there you go. Pull the bond.
North London always bleeds blue.
You hate Arsenal. You hate Tottenham.
Gotcha. Ooh, I know a lot of people who like Tottenham, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
What's another thing? Daddy Roman, can I have some more money, please?
I'm sorry. Oh, this is
the owner. Yeah,
this is the owner, Daddy Roman.
Yeah, have some more money.
Roman, gotcha. $3 signs.
We have won the Champions League, so we have that over a lot of clubs, which is nice.
Gotcha.
That's one thing to gloat about. And What's
1, 2, 3, 4. Technically, we could split Arsenal and Tottenham into their own, and that's 5.
Let's do that so I can be lazy with it.
Let's do that so you can be lazy with it. All right, I got these all written down.
There you go. Welcome to the bandwagon.
North London always bleeds blue is a cool thing to say. Like that, off the top, that being number 1, I was like, all right, like sweet. I can say I'm gonna be going into work tomorrow. Nobody there knows what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh, North London always bleeds blue. What do you mean?
There's gonna be one person that would look at you that's gonna be like an Arsenal fan, be like,
Right.
hold up.
Yeah,
a
what did you just say? Well, I can't wait to get my ass beat for being a Chelsea fan.
It's all right. We don't live in the UK, so
That's true. It's not as serious
like
here.
you won't get your ass kicked.
Right. Let's talk about, and we don't have to talk about your famous football career, but just sports in general that you played growing up. What were some of your favorites? What were the highlights of your promising career?
I would say the first sport I ever like really tried in when I was like of age to like really care about sports. I did judo for like 3 years. So I lived in Japan for a bit.
Yeah,
so that was really cool. Kid judo and adult judo is way different. And so like when everybody goes like judo chop because of like Austin Powers or whatever, it kind of annoys me because there's no striking in judo. It's all grappling. So that's kind of like, all right, whatever.
Yep.
So that was one thing. I technically got knocked out in one match, and that was the last match of my career. So that was.
Is that why? Because you got knocked out?
Well, we moved like 3 months later anyway, and so it just happened to be like my last match.
Exactly.
I got a kid that was like 100 pounds bigger than me, and just bam, done. And he said, "Hey, pull him." I was like, "Oh, it's over. Yeah, all right, that's it."
You're like,
done.
"All right, we're moving."
All right, see you guys.
It's like
never see my face again.
It's like a reverse Jaden Smith Karate Kid. You get beat up and you leave, and you go back to America. You're like, "All right,
Jaden guys run back. I ran away." Oh man.
So you had judo. What else?
I played soccer, like I said, until like age. I guess I was 19 at the time when I like got cut / quit playing. So played that for a bit, which was a lot of fun. Got a lot of cards back in high school.
Nice. So you're the enforcer out there.
I was the enforcer, but to be fair, I was also like 175, like really lean, and like 5'11", and so a lot of the kids that were there were still kind of growing in their body, and so I was just running, and somebody would hit me and just fall over.
Right?
Like, oh, that sucks.
You're like, that's not my fault.
Like, that's not my fault at all.
You're like, I watched this happen to Shaq
because I rolled the ball to the referee, and the way our field was set up, it was kind of like a dome. So on the sides, it was a little like slanted. He put his foot up, and the ball went under because that was where the dome was at, and he gave me a card. I was like, what the? I didn't do anything. I legit didn't do anything.
The like worst part about that, like when you're a kid, is nobody takes your side. Like you throw up your arms, and then like your coach, your parents, your friends' parents, they're all like, "Put your arms down, show some respect." And you're like, just
the thing that sucks, like my mom has a very distinct voice because she's from Louisiana and we were in Texas, and she would yell, and everyone would know it's my mom because we look alike. And we kind of like, and she has her own voice, and so I just be like, God damn it, mom, not again! Like I didn't do anything. I'm just giving the ball.
I would have a similar thing, but reversed, where in basketball, like my parents didn't care how many points I had. They didn't care about like how many rebounds. They didn't care how I was playing. They just wanted me to get fouls. Like my problem was I was not aggressive at all. My older sister, she played high school basketball, and she was like insane. Like she would have like cornrows. She had her mouth guard in. She'd be pushing
she was ready to go.
Yeah, she'd be pushing kids like to the ground. She got like more technical fouls than anybody else on the team. And my parents would
say it's like that's the fun part about like the youth sports is there's always like those set few kids that just like go way too hard and parents encourage it.
Yeah.
And it's like this is gonna be a problem in like 10 years.
Yeah, luckily her high school basketball career only lasted 1 year. I don't know if she got kicked off the team for that or like what was going on there. But
hopefully she's not out in the streets punching out like rear view inside the mirrors and stuff.
That's how it's affected her growing up. But with me, they're always like, you need to foul more, and I'm like, that's not a good thing. Like you guys don't understand.
I can only get 5 of these.
Exactly. So like they would like just cheat, like they would just pop off like whenever I would get a foul.
He didn't score. He turned the ball over, but he got a foul.
Exactly.
Stop cheering that on.
I sent a legal pick turnover into the game. My parents are going crazy. They don't know what just happened.
Like we lost by 20.
Yeah.
Damn. I feel like that's gonna be like me as a parent, whereas like it doesn't matter what my children do, I am going to be okay and support it regardless, which is going to definitely be problematic in some situations where, your son just kicked this kid in the face and broke the nose. Hell yeah, son, that's what I'm talking about. You get a red card, you got to do something worthy of a red card. You're not going to go like a chump.
You're like, kids used to just run into me and fall over. That's a lot cooler.
Right. Okay, I turned out just fine.
So I wanted to go back to judo for a second, because what ages were you doing that from? I forget if you already said.
I was between 8 and 11. So
gotcha.
Yeah, like pretty young, but I was okay. My growth was weird. I was somewhat tall for a bit for my age group, at like 7, 8 years old, but I was kind of fat for a while. And then I eventually kind of leaned out and just stopped. I stopped growing wide and just started growing taller.
Yeah, that's my exact evolution.
Exactly. So it was 8 through 11, but I was always going against kids that were in my age group. I was bigger than the kids. So we go against kids that were in like the local area of Japan we were at. Mm-hmm. So not like other American kids on bases and whatnot, like actual like other like Japanese students or whatever. And so an 8-year-old compared to me looked like they were 4. And so I had to go against people that were between like 12 and 13 in some tournaments, which is why I was getting beat, because I just wasn't physically strong enough to take them on or whatever.
Right. So, it was always like mixed results. Like sometimes it makes sense for you to fight these older kids. Other times not at all.
Yeah. Like I didn't win much because like I would go against kids that were bigger than me and that were like clearly way older than me and just be like, well, they've been doing this for 7 years. I've been doing this for 7 months. Like I don't know what to
what do you want me to do?
Right. But it was a fun experience because it was like you learned a lot about just kind of like how the body moves and flows and how balance is really key to a lot of things and how easy it is to knock somebody off balance, especially when they get mad. Oh man, that was my thing. Like kind of like piss somebody off because you start off in like your gi, like I'm grabbing your shoulder and then I'm grabbing like the outside of like your like underhandle right here. I don't have the gi with me, or I would
where you would break my arm.
Yeah, but like I'd be holding the under part, and so what we would do is like kind of like dancing a little bit.
Right.
I would purposely just try to like jerk you down and just kind of wear you out that way.
Right.
Because it was all legal as long as you weren't like shoulder checking and like headbutting or whatever. So I would just like move as much as possible to wear them down because I have pretty good cardio for my size. And I'd wear them down after like the first round, and the next round I go in, just go for the easiest of ankle sweeps, where literally I pull you one way, I pull you back the other, and I just bring my foot over and just boom and just knock you down, and I just fall right into a hold, and then they'd be stuck for 10 seconds, and I'll get them. And so in training all the time, I was my go-to thing. And then eventually they bumped me up to the bigger kids in our group, and then
you can't do that anymore.
I don't need tech. So that wasn't as fun.
That's your finisher. I'll have to add that to your profile on there. Let me get new batteries because this light is like it's slowly strobing. I'll be right back. Now that's like
you're like way brighter.
I noticed it slowly going down at one point, and then it just like started blinking at me like during that whole story. I was like,
what kind of light is it?
It's a photodiox. It's a pancake light. It's like this like soft source LED. It's nice. I got it for like, I don't know, like school back in the day. I was like, I can use this again.
Come in handy. I have an aperture like
nice
45, the small credit card one.
Yeah.
I have an F7 right here bouncing off my white ass wall.
Right.
So get a little bounce.
I want to get one of those like little aperture. Like, and they have like the magnets and stuff, and it's RGB too, right?
I don't have that one. I have the one before it.
Gotcha.
I've had this one for like 5 years. And gotcha. So it's been pretty good. It's been great, but I want to get that set with those so I can just stick them places. That'd be sick.
Yeah, because then they have like the magnets too, and then there's like the whole briefcase where it's like wireless charging. That's our little production diatribe in the middle of this.
Exactly. But you like Camp for Sports, but we got some production for you too.
We got something for everybody.
Exactly.
I feel
Rated A for all ages.
I was super interested like in all of like your, I keep going back to rich career in judo because that's something that's like so relatable, and then it's wildly not because you're doing this in Japan. Like I feel like every kid in America, like in our age group, did karate at some point, like if not every point.
Yeah, it was one of the things because like when I was in Japan, it was from 2002 to 2005, which that time period alone has its own sets of like problems and socioeconomical issues or whatever. But like it was in the midst of a big like culture shift, like in like especially like in our age group, and so like when I was doing that, a lot of kids were getting into like probably like you said karate or some form of like jujitsu or other combat sport. And so when I came over here, people were like, oh, yeah, I've been doing karate for like 3 years. Like, oh, I did judo. I'm like, what's judo? I'm like, it's just like Japanese wrestling, essentially. Follow this and that.
They're like, oh, from Austin Powers.
And they're like, God, no. I remember the first time I watched. So I did judo before seeing any Austin Powers. So when I watched Austin Powers and that happened, I was like kind of heated about it. I was like, that's not real. And like, I knew it was a movie and I knew it was fake, but I'm like, why are they doing the judo chop there?
Right.
And then like it just kept happening where I was like, you are disrespecting my sport.
Yeah.
So,
You leave it to Mike Myers to just disrespect, you know,
I need to rewatch this.
all of our stuff. We rewatched them like, I don't know, like at some point last year. I mean, you know, just like with all the weird like pandemic like binge watching and stuff at one point. My girlfriend Jessica, she's like, yeah, I've never seen any of these movies. I'm like, we gotta, it's a classic. And I was like, oh man, these movies like suck. Like they're still great, but
They
I was
don't
like,
age well at all.
exactly. I was like, this is not a classic. Like you can watch like a 5-minute clip of Mike Myers doing that. It's like, yep, I get it. That's the whole movie.
Done. We're good. We're good. $1 million or whatever. How it does it. It's like, all right, cool, got it.
Exactly.
Great.
Get
Mini
in
me?
my
You know,
belly.
once-
There you
you know
go.
what I mean?
Mini me.
Done.
Yeah. You can just do a super cut of the whole thing. And now we got Austin Powers for the movie buffs. This is gonna be, I gotta write all this down for the search algorithms. We got Austin Powers. The viewers will see. I was dressed. You know, I just got back from Tampa. What did you think? We got to talk about it. Keep in mind, this is airing on Valentine's Day.
Oh wow!
So this is a special Valentine's episode.
Oh.
Exactly.
The worst love expert ever, right here.
And then this is the first episode after the Super Bowl, which, you know, this is a sports show, so we gotta talk about that. So how did you feel, like the whole experience? We're not just talking about like the football, because that was pretty much garbage, like for the whole time. But how the Super Bowl as a whole? Let's hear some of your thoughts.
So my biggest thing is with any sporting event that's being hosted in the state of Florida right now.
Yeah.
Should never be allowed to have fans unless they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because Florida apparently beat COVID back in April of last year, and they just have not stopped since.
They're not sharing the secrets. They're not
sharing the secrets, and I'm
Very
really mad
selfish.
about it because I'm trying to get out of my apartment and go do other things, you know. But like, it's just so that was like my biggest concern. Finding out there's 30,000 people that were there. It's like that's a lot of people, even if that stadium holds like 120K.
Yeah.
Because like that's still a lot of people in one area.
And the crazy thing with that is like people would be calling that out on Twitter all the time, and then everybody would be quick to be like, oh, well, there's like cardboard cutouts and they're spread out. But you see like the pictures, like when the Weeknd's performing, they moved everybody. Everybody was sitting next to each other.
For the shots, and so like, what's the point of having all that safety precautions in place if you're going to move them for certain bits?
You're just breaking them, just like left and right.
I could see if they found 30,000 people that was all family worth of NFL players, just like NFL staff personnel and healthcare workers that are vaccinated, all have privileges to go there and just happen to be 30K.
Right.
But if it's just 30K of random people like the sign guy going, why? Why?
Yeah, like, and it's like, I think it was 7K were like vaccinated frontline workers, and it's like, that's great. There weren't any more of them. We only have 7K. Like,
and it just sucks because I think that with sports, because like I've worked in the NBA for a bit. I worked for like the D League. I've worked in hockey. I've worked in soccer. Everything comes down to bottom line and pushing profit, and they will give less of a percent about somebody health and well-being if it gives them an extra dollar in their pocket. And it's just sad to see that because these leagues have money to go a year without having a full fan base in for the Super Bowl. Like it's not gonna kill their bottom line.
Right.
They're gonna lose a couple million for the teams and whatnot for revenue and sales, but everybody's doing that. So just deal with it.
Especially like with the Super Bowl when it's like you're not even filling up the stadium. Like how much money, like is it really worth this amount of money to just have like this, like a third of the stadium filled?
Right. Like I understand the contract was put in play like 3 or 4 seasons ago, but still like times have changed. You should be able to like cut a deal with the city and figure out what to do because what you're doing is not going to cause what you're doing is going to cause more problems. And then the people outside of Tampa that weren't at the game in the streets, I'm like, y'all, Florida just needs to get cut off from the United States right now and just put in the middle of the ocean. Let them figure everything out. Well, I like Florida. I got people in Florida. You know, like I'm sorry, but y'all need to get out of that state.
I mean, here in Georgia, it's not that much better, and like
really not.
That's when I live like super close to the Brave Stadium, and they have the Battery, which is like this little weird futuristic, not super, I don't know, millennial friendly town built around the stadium. That's just a bunch of expensive shops and some good restaurants and stuff like that. But like that was one of the weird cases where they didn't allow anybody in the stadium, which, you know, like that's great. But then they would have like a big screen right outside and they wouldn't be regulating at all. There would be tons of people like maskless just sitting there right next to each other watching on the screen. And it's like at that point, let them in and spread them out. Like
if you're going to do that, like you may as well just let them in. Like, it's just so backwards how we've dealt with this stuff as a whole. And now Atlanta is about to possibly get the All-Star weekend. Like players don't even want to have an All-Star game. They don't care.
Nobody wants to have it.
Just play the season and end it. Like,
right.
Come on. I feel bad. I have a friend that he's an ER doctor in Dallas. And so, you know, we talked a couple times last year and he's like, yeah, it's just crazy. People aren't masking up. They're not distancing and they're just doing whatever and they don't care. And whenever I see people go out, especially like when I see people that I know in Dallas posting on like their stories when going to bars, whatever, like my friend has been slaving for a year and some change, making sure you guys don't die and have like your needs met when you get sick. Could you please just quit being selfish for like another 6 months probably or whatever? Just stay the fuck inside. I'm sorry I dropped the F-bomb. I don't know if that's okay or not.
No, it's okay. It's totally fine. My mom hasn't found the podcast yet, so I'm not in trouble.
We're good. My mom hasn't listened to mine either, so we're fine.
There you go. I think that's my biggest fear. And like last weekend, I was like running around like trying to get everything to work for the show, and like I like missed a call with my mom, and then I picked up or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been really busy. I was like, with what? And I was like,
do I tell her
a podcast? But anyways,
next question,
what's that?
Her next question, what's a podcast?
I was like, don't worry about it, and moving on. And then we were good.
Same thing. Like, you don't listen to them, don't worry about it. I'll tell you when I get home.
You don't know how to find them, so don't even bother.
Just don't search my name, and we're good.
Exactly. So weird. Just this is a segment we call curveball. we haven't debuted this segment before. I've thought about it once or twice.
I'm the first to do this.
Exactly.
All right, let's go.
And to be fair, I think we've already had plenty of curveballs in this episode. How often do you Google your name?
I don't Google it very often.
Yeah.
Maybe like once a year.
Exactly.
There's like one article.
It's almost like. Go ahead.
There's one article. If you look at my name from when I lived in Japan, I won a geography beat.
Oh, we gotta find.
And I think that article still pulls up to this day.
I'm about to check it. But yeah, I was about to say.
I think 2004 or 5 or something like that.
It's like getting like your credit score. Like I think if you check it more than once a year, like you get in trouble. I think if you Google yourself. All right,
like, I just want to see what kind of like stuff is out there about me that's not on like LinkedIn or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. So
please, mom, don't on my Twitter account.
So it's not on the first page. Your IMDb, I assume it's yours, shows up twice.
I have a college film that I worked on.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Which is funny because I should be on like 8 of them, but my professor never added them.
That's the thing is like I I work for Atlanta Eats. It's like a local show out here, and I've done like some like PAing and stuff on like other things. I'm pretty sure I don't have an IMDb, and it's just like, you know what? At this point, I don't want one.
I'm like, somebody will make one for me and add whatever to it at some point.
Exactly.
It's fine.
I'm like, when I deserve one, I'll get one. When I do something good enough that somebody does it for me.
Exactly. That's when you know you've arrived.
So we have an upset here. I don't see it.
See it? They
Wait.
finally took it down.
Student stings competition in geography B. That's it. Okay, it does pop up. Never mind.
And it might actually be. I think my photo might be in it too.
I'm not seeing the photo, but yeah, there you are,
Thank
fifth
God.
grade student.
I'm trying to see if I can pull up my phone too, because it's not front page like you said.
But I guess that concludes curveball. Home run.
Hey, there you are. You found me.
There we go.
You can put a link in the show notes if anybody wants to read about when I
do that.
Use my brain and stuff like that back in the day.
I will do that. That'll be in the show notes. You know what? Maybe I'll get some B-roll, some dramatic dramatic Ken Burns of this article. So yeah, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah. Super Bowl. We're back. Yeah.
Okay, so we got sports and pandemic really bad.
Really bad. Awful.
It's been like one of those things that like I constantly. So college sports is the one that has been like the worst for me this year. Like growing up, my family, they're from South Carolina. They didn't really have like the Panthers then, so Clemson was their team. And so I'm a big Clemson fan, and it's been crazy how over the years Clemson was like pretty much garbage, like famous for choking. Like that was like the height of them, and they've become like one of the biggest like powerhouse like blue chip schools in college football. And all at the same time, my wokeness is like growing, and I'm like at the point where I'm like, this is my favorite team and my least favorite sport. I'm like, like please pay these kids, please, you know, like stop having a season of like unpaid slave labor to fund these schools like in the middle of a pandemic. And it's just like, man, like what, you know, how did we get here?
People are like, oh, they're getting their room and board and school paid for.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's worth it.
Half those kids don't go to class. Half
Right.
those kids have somebody taking their test for them or doing their homework for them. So that doesn't count. Like they're not incentivized to do well, and they get these like privileges. But at the end of the day, if some kid that's a second string plays and breaks their leg and can't play forever, they're going to that their life in their eyes, their life's ruined, and they're not going to get a cent from breaking their leg. Like, what's the point?
And some people, like you'll hear people chime in, and it's like, oh, well, you know, my cousin's in the theater department and they have plays and they don't get paid. And it's like, man, like people go, no disrespect to your cousin, but like they're not bringing in millions of dollars. Like they're not funding literally like every other program at the school. So
yeah, Johnny Manziel's jersey was I think still is the number one selling like college jersey of all time. Yeah, he brought A&M, I think, almost close to $100 million.
Yeah,
jersey sales alone.
They're like one of the richest like boosters, like. That's cool, and it's all driven from that football team, like all those donations and everything. So, yeah, that's insane. Pandemic sports, you know, not cool. College sports, not cool. I wish there would be, like, and it's weird. You have like the fan-controlled football league popping up now. You have like the XFL. The G League is really picking up, all thanks to you, of course, when you worked in the D League.
That was a fun and chaotic time, I'll tell you.
Another curveball. This isn't a curveball. This is switcheroo. This is switching lanes. NASCAR. Switch hitting. I saw that on your LinkedIn, and then I do my research. Of course, I do. I didn't find this article, but you know, I did the LinkedIn. What was that experience like?
So the way we got the job, it was basically like, because in my university, I worked for the broadcast department in the film department. And so whenever we weren't doing films and other projects, we were doing either our news show or a basketball game. So I went to a really small university. So for 4 years, I essentially worked basketball production wise. And so basically me and like a couple of my friends all graduated. we got recommended to work for their season because our professor was friends with the VP of production, I want to say, for the Thunder. They just needed like a small crew. They needed like 7-8 people. We only had 5, which is barely enough to get through a whole game, mind you. But yeah, we got that job, and like we would run the cables underneath and like set up the switchers and everything like that. You know, our feeds would go into the referees when they did review plays, and half the time one of our cameras didn't work, so we didn't have an angle for the referees, and they were mad at us for it. You know,
it sounds extremely chaotic. Like it sounds like you're doing this.
We were only 22, 23 years old, and so you have a bunch of literal kids running a full-on broadcast that's going on YouTube with actual paid commentary somewhere else, and we're just hoping to God everything works.
What are some of the skills that you come at? Like what was like your experience level going into it and coming out? Because it sounds like as a student, like getting thrown into that fire, like you come out like a changed man.
It was cool at first. When it was just our crew doing it, it was fine. It just got really weird where the refs came through. So I kind of learned how to deal with because the refs have a personality. They all do. They all do. Kind of learn how to deal with that pressure and talking to refs and making sure like you communicate clearly as to why something's not working. Because you know the league only gave us one of the things you asked for. We don't have both of them like they do in Utica, where they have Jimmer Fredette playing for some reason. You know, and so Jimmer. And so that was kind of like learning how to deal with people in that aspect. We worked with ESPN for a broadcast, and I quickly learned that I do not want to work for ESPN in the production side of things because those guys sucked. Yeah,
just total like. Because I imagine everybody who works for ESPN2 is like 50 years old. Like it's like, because like I've run into that like in the production world where like if I'm working on like a commercial or something like that, everybody's cool. Like everybody's like 20s, 30s, 40s. And even like if they're older too, they're a lot more like mellow and laid back. And then like I worked for a little bit at like a rental house that did a lot of stuff with the Marvel movies at Pinewood. And all of those dudes were just like, you know, like
at the rental house. Oh, I can tell.
At the rental house. But then even the dudes like I like some of like the grips from like Marvel. From like Ant-Man 2 would come over and they're just total assholes. And I'm like, yeah, like I really want to work in this industry.
It's like what? It's like the saying is what? Never meet your heroes.
Yeah,
exactly. I tell people never meet the company you want to actually work for. Right. You're gonna find things you don't like about them real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like because ESPN does a thing where depending on the area, they'll contract people out to do certain jobs instead of like sending their actual crew. So they work with their contractors, and those people were just the worst. So they're the ones that would do like OSU, OU football games or whatever. And I tell you, those guys were just rude. It was like I almost pushed the guy down the stairs because it was just me and him in like the stairwell. I was like,
nobody would know. Nobody will know. You're like, I'm so much faster. Just kick him down. Go the other way. I wasn't even here.
Exactly. There's 4 other stairwells I could take to get where I need to go. They'll never find his body.
You have all the camera feeds. You can wipe the footage. You're playing Hitman.
So there's no cameras in that part.
Well, there you go. You already knew.
Fun fact: that arena is now going to be a production house / like TV movie studio here in Oklahoma City. So they're trying to get that industry up here. So
yeah, steal it from us. Steal it from Georgia.
Yeah. Probably not.
Probably not. We'll see.
Tyler Perry and Pinewood, y'all good.
Exactly. Yeah, he's holding it down no matter what. So the Super Bowl. And we're back. What a game, huh? What a halftime show. What a bunch of great commercials.
Man, the halftime show was all right. Like I've never been a big Weeknd fan.
So my
he
thing,
put on a good show.
Oh, for sure.
I'll say that.
My thing, like most of the time, like I'm not really into much pop music at all. I loved last year, which last year was so. I think it was even worse than this year, where. Who was it on Twitter that I follow? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on your name. Who said like, sorry to everybody who had to explain The Weeknd to their parents tonight. And I feel like last year was even worse.
That was for our age group last year's show.
Exactly. Like it was so much fun. I loved it. And then I get to work the next day and like, I'm maybe like the youngest there, and everybody's like, "Oh, that was garbage." And it's like,
You're like, what?
in that it doesn't help like the Bad Bunny commercial with Snoop Dogg, like that comes on so often, and every time my dad's like, "Who's that guy?" And I'm like, "Dad, we keep doing this. You know Bad Bunny.
We've done this so many times.
You're just trying
Bad Bunny
to
is
hurt me."
going to be at WrestleMania this year, so hey, more
man.
Bad Bunny.
I watched again. We just do not want to talk about the Super Bowl. That's how bad the Super Bowl was. I watch pretty
Tom
much.
Brady won another ring. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You'll kiss your son in the mouth again. Who cares?
Moving on. I watch wrestling like from the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, pretty much just that, like every year. Because like I just love the Royal Rumble. Like growing up, we didn't watch any pay-per-views because I didn't know how any of that shit worked when I was a kid. My parents did not watch wrestling. They didn't care about any of this. As soon as I was old enough, I was watching the Royal Rumble because I was like, this shit's insane. Like there's 30 people in the ring. And my favorite like gimmick match. So I always tune in there. The first thing I saw, because I tuned in a little bit late this time, just turn on the TV and Bad Bunny's there. And I'm like, am I watching the right thing? And then Booker T is there. Old Booker T, which for a second I was like, because he's old. Like I know he's doing commentating at one point, but like for a second I didn't recognize him. It's because, Father Time.
I haven't seen him in a bit,
Exactly. And he's just standing there. Booker T is just standing there. Bad Bunny's just walking around him. I'm like, what fever dream am I in right now? and then yeah, he frog splat or crossbodied the Miz and John Morrison.
Really happened.
Well, that's as soon as like he like rolls and he's like holding his rib, I'm like, oh, he is hurt. Like he is really hurt. But it was a good time. Looking forward to seeing him at WrestleMania.
I'm okay with it because with no actual fans, you got to do something to kind of like liven up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens match was really good, minus the one botch they had that was at the end of the match, which is awful.
That match specifically, because again, like I'm such a casual wrestling fan. I'm like there for the Royal Rumble. Watching with my girlfriend who has like no interest in wrestling at all. Like we watch Glow together. She likes Glow. She's like, yeah, I get it now. Like Glow is like, I get it. Like there's stories, there's heels, there's faces. This is fun. So I get her to watch this. We watch the Women's Royal Rumble. It's great. And then like that match is up next. And I was like, oh, we can skip this. Like Kevin Owens is cool, but like I don't really like Roman Reigns. And like we can just watch something else and we'll tune back in for the men's. And then like I see on my phone, I just see Kevin Owens run over Roman Reigns on a golf cart. I'm like, give me the controller. We're turning it back.
With the golf cart.
Yeah, I'm like, nope. We're putting this back on.
That was a sick match because that happened where he got hit with a golf cart.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens jumped off the forklift.
Yeah.
And then the drone shot too. That was sick.
I love that Kevin Owens is just like me when I was 12 years old. Like he is literally just a husky dude who's just like, he's just down for anything. He just loves wrestling. I'm like, that is exactly in my mind what I imagined I would be when I was like a 12-year-old wrestling fan. I was like, yep, just like big. I'll wear a muscle shirt. I jump off everything.
There we go. That's my stick.
Yeah.
I just want to hear the conversations where they're talking like choreographing the matches. Like, all right, so we're gonna get to this back area. You're gonna go off screen for like 20 seconds. You're gonna come back with the golf cart and hit. What? Like, yeah, just hit me with the golf cart. It's like, are you sure? Like, yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, wrestling's cool. Cooler than Super Bowl.
Wrestling is a lot better than Super Bowl. Like, I'm sorry, it is.
Well, I don't want to keep too much of your time. I will get to our question of the day from my boy Gino Viteri. Shout out to Gino. V's in the chat again for everybody. So, of course, like one of your more famous, like recent viral moments was your feud with Iffy about Canes and Zaxby's.
Yes.
Which I will have you know, as a white man, I only got you 3/5, but I did vote Zaxby's in there. So I used to work at Zaxby's actually, like growing up in high school. My parents, like I said, used to live in Texas, and you're totally right. Like Cane's, like just isn't it. They're just Like it's a novelty at first. You're like, oh, this chicken and bread, and they got this great sauce. It's like, what else do they got? And like, how good it, like, there's been so many times, like, as a professional, my professional fry cook, fried chicken opinion.
You've been in the trenches.
I've been there. I've been slinging tenders back there. All right. There have been too many times that like my parents got Cane's and I got something and the fryers were burnt out. And that's like when it tastes like the chicken tastes like just like burnt garbage. And it's like, man, like when it's at its best, it's, you know, it's fried chicken is pretty good. But like that's happened to me too many times too that I just can't ride with Cane's.
My thing with Cane's is like I'm gonna get on my hipster high horse. I've had it in Louisiana before it became like a big chain.
That's true. Yeah, that was the first time I ever had it. Was my stepdaddy's from Louisiana, and we had it out there. And I remember as a kid being like, "Oh, this is Zaxby's."
See, I didn't have Zaxby's at that point, so I didn't have anything compared to. But I was like, "Oh, this is fine. This is fine." And then, like, the more they branch out and the more I would try it, it was just like I'm eating this tender because I have sauce on it.
Right.
So there would be times where I try it without the sauce. I'm like, this chicken is just
I don't want
fine.
this.
Like, I'm eating the toast because it's buttered, and I'm eating the fries, and I'm not eating the coleslaw because it's water anyway.
Exactly. So, and that's the other thing too. Like, I think some people in the comments are saying like, oh, like the toast is better. Like the toast, I can make some toast right here. All right. Like it'll take me 5 seconds.
Argument starts with the sauce and the bread are fire. Like, I'm not talking about that. Right. What about the chicken? What you guys don't see, AP has texted me like 3 times at night, him getting Cane's. Every
time he gets it.
Like, dog, I'm trying to go to bed. It's 12:30. Leave me alone.
So do you have Zaxby's up near you in Oklahoma?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. So you're able to send some back.
One night after the 3rd time I did it, just like send a picture of it and be like, "Here, wings and things, baby." That's what I get every time.
Every time. And see, they got the wings too. Like, I mean, come on. There's just more. There's just more
options.
So yeah, Gino asked, and I'm trying to find his question. I've literally had this pulled up since the beginning of the show, just Gino's Twitter.
Like, have you met Zaxby? I think that's like the first one. And it's like, I don't know who Zaxby is, but I want to meet them and shake their hand.
I want to meet Zaxby.
Any family member who started this company's hand. I'll do that.
So that's one of the other weird things too, because I worked for them in my high school. I was about to say career again. I love this word career. Your illustrious athletic career, my illustrious chicken career.
There you go.
But in my professional life, I worked for them again. Elaine Eats like works with Zaxby's quite a bit. So like I've never told him, never like reintroduced him. But like the dude who like literally owned my Zaxby's, I've like shot interviews with that guy like 3 times in the last like 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, I used to work with this guy. And like everybody on set's like, we know, like you won't shut up about it.
Like, yes, Matt, you told us the story. We get it.
every time. But yeah, it's like
part of the videos that you had where you're doing like this, like the ways of like, I guess, eat Zaxby's in different ways or something like that.
It was like it was like a Zax Hacks thing. It was like like Atlanteans, what's the word? I guess fans. Maybe they're fans. I don't know what these Atlantean supporters are. They send in this is for like a contest. So they're like participants of this contest. They send in like things for us to try. And it's hilarious because again, like I used to work at Zaxby's. I've tried like way crazier things than these people. These people are like, oh, put French fries on your sandwich.
Like, and I'm like, okay, I've been in this all like 9.
Exactly. So yeah, there's a video out there of me like taste testing all these things.
I gotta do. Somebody needs to submit a blueberry lemon pepper wing.
Blueberry lemon pepper.
I'm telling you,
what is the blueberry flavoring coming from?
It's just a little like sweet to go with the spicy. So maybe like a blueberry compost, like something like that. Like not, you don't want it to be too thick to ruin the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wing spot here called Wing Supreme. They do like custom flavors.
Yeah,
they're buffalo lemon pepper.
Yeah, that's been like the biggest like blow up lately is buffalo lemon pepper, which I appreciate that everywhere does it. Mm-hmm. But we have a guy. Shout out to Brad B&L Wings here in Atlanta. My favorite wing place. They did it first, and they did it first in Atlanta. I'll say.
I gotta add that to my list of wings places when I come down there.
Exactly. He did them and they were great, and he like won like awards in Atlanta for him. And now everybody in Atlanta is doing them. I'm like, oh no, they're about to take your recipe.
Tell him to the blueberry lemon pepper.
That's what I gotta let him know. Blueberry lemon pepper. That's gotta be the one to try.
I want my producer credit on that one.
Exactly. I'll be like, first off, you gotta give a shout out to Jeff. Like every time you sell one, you say this one's from Fogi, and he hands you the box.
Exactly.
But yeah, you've never met Zaxby, right?
Never met Zaxby. Never met him.
You would like to. The dudes named are Zach and Tony. And yeah, like we did like an interview thing with them. I posted like this like ridiculous my thing on Instagram for like a little bit, and I say a little, was probably only like 2 posts because like I just do not keep up with Instagram at all. Was like I would act because most of my followers would be like people I went to like high school with and stuff like that, and I would act like I'm this big Hollywood big shot who made it. And it's hilarious. I don't know if everybody got the joke or they're like, oh man, Matt's an asshole now. But I posted like this like 3-paragraph thing of like a picture of like me on set with like those dudes, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, high school back in the day, but I'm running the show now. And all this stuff.
Just to flex on it real quick.
Exactly. There's so many people that I used to work with. They're like, wow, like that's great for you, buddy. Like life came full circle. And I'm like, it's not that cool. Like it's totally fine. I'm just messing with you.
Since we're talking about high school, this would be my 10-year reunion this year. And I'm glad there's a pandemic about, so I can avoid those people and talk about my career.
For real.
I would say, what do you be like? I work at this brand. They're like, oh, that's cool. What do you do? That's the end of conversation.
Right.
Just walk
You're
away.
like,
let them think
that's
about
all.
Work on like a show or something and just leave.
Exactly. You just have your phone and just be like, oh, what's up? Sorry, business.
Oh, hey, Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
What's up, Rick and Morty? So getting back to Gino's question, he also asked coleslaw or Texas toast.
Texas toast.
and
I only said it because not everyone does a good coleslaw.
But coleslaw just out of a cup, and it's so watery, like you said, and like
yeah, because the cup thing isn't watery. What like I don't care for it when like it's cubed. I like it when the cabbage is like I guess more stringy, not so much cubed.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of that like texture, and it feels like kind of oatmeal-y, but not a good oatmeal.
Yeah. And then Gino also asks, what would Zaxby choose? What do you think? You think
Zaxby's gonna choose Zaxby's and say that Cane's is nothing but some mid that wants to be great. It is some store-bought frozen tenders that gets put in a deep fryer that hasn't been cleaned in 6 months and is trash. And the sauce sells their chicken. Their chicken does not sell the sauce.
And the thing too is like Zaxby's has the sauce, like, and it's like it's not even my go-to like most of the time. They have so many sauces. They have so many. The sweet and spicy. That's my go-to. I get that sweet and spicy. Some wings.
I'm just like wings and things. I want the spice level is the hot. Not hot dang, that's a different restaurant. The tongue torch.
Yep, tongue torch.
I just do ranch into the Zax sauce, and I'm good. I'm good for the evening. Like, it's fire. I can leave the toast on the side, and not touch it, and be totally fine with my chicken.
Exactly.
I can eat my tender with no sauce and be fine because the tender is juicy.
Roll the window down, throw the toast out the window. You know, that's what I always say. On the drive home, you just piles of toast on the road.
Are you hungry? There you go.
Exactly. Nobody even cares. All right. Fogi, thanks so much for being on the show, man. I had a blast.
Thank you, man. I had fun too.
I'm so glad that your like insane chemistry with everybody worked on me too. So I appreciate that.
It's all right. Like I said, I'm born to do this. I'm born to be a host. I'm born to be somebody who's like, in front of stuff. I'm just terrible stage fright. So it's all good.
If you want to listen to more Fogi, check out Everyone Turns Left at Rush Hour. Great podcast. He has great guests on right now every week, right?
Every week right now. I'm going to post a new episode. It'll be posted before this is up, but an episode this week. Then I'll have one more the following week. And then I'll probably take like 2 weeks off just because I did a lot of content in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then just do like a couple solo and try to get some more interviews lined up.
I appreciate that. Speaking of that, go watch a little Fogi. That's the one. That's the one we flip about on YouTube, where Fogi talks about, he's just honest. He's just vlogging. He's just out there. Because like the content thing, like so specifically, I feel the same way. Like last year, like in the kind of funny community, I was like trying to make this big up and comer push. And I was like just constantly making content. I was like, man, like I have a day job and like there's a pandemic. Like I want to take a break. And it's like everybody should take breaks. So we'll see how long it is till I take a break on this show.
We got to get you on my show, though.
You got to get me on your show. So hopefully we do that soon. And then twitch.tv/FogiBear.
Fogi_Bear.
Fogi_Bear.
If you think just Fogi Bear, you're going to find my Canadian half sister.
Check her out too. Like on your way, follow
She's
both.
Overwatch. So yeah.
There you go. Follow both. But sub to you. You've been playing Yakuza Like a Dragon lately?
Yeah, me and Ichiwan going to the streets of Yokohama right now.
I can't wait for that to come out on PS5 because I do not have an Xbox. that was like I have like the weirdest taste in games. Like lately, I've just been playing Civ 6 and NBA 2K. But
those are two very different games, both very fun.
But so yeah, like I got the PS5 just because I'm like a Sony bitch, and I just like I love Persona. I play like all those games, Naughty Dog, and so I got the PS5 first, and then I'm just sitting here and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll try Demon Souls, and then looking over, seeing what's going on the Xbox side of things, and I'm just like, Yakuza looks great. So I'm excited for that game to come out.
I have it on PC, but I'm like,
that's true.
I'm not getting this on Xbox. I want to get a Series X because I'm trying to get them upgrades.
That's true. That's true.
4K 60.
Follow Fogi at Fogi_Bear on Twitter. I'm Matt S. Batson. We got anything else before we let him go?
I think that's it. Thank you once again for letting me borrow your ears, your listeners, and hang out with you. I loved it. I love it here.
I appreciate you being here. Everybody, till next time. Bye. I don't have like a sign off or anything yet, so.